Hi, I'm Pam, and I'm here to talk about video games. Today I'm talking about a new Metroidvania sequel inspired by Wonderboy and other 16-bit classics. It's Egalos 2. The forces of dark and light are colliding. As an Aggelos, an angel, you will need to learn to embrace your dark side as you explore and battle your way through intertwining light and dark realms. The balance of light and dark is the focus here, as you will be swapping between angel and demon forms, each with its own unique attacks and defenses. Aggelos 2 was developed by Pixel Heart and released for PC and consoles on August 27th. I played and recorded this on an Xbox Series X with a review code provided by the publisher. This is a sequel to 2018's Aggelos and features the same protagonist and world. I wasn't a huge fan of the first game, which is really more of a dungeon-based retro action platformer. Aggelos 2, however, is a game I had a lot of fun with. It's gone full-on Metroidvania with a large interconnected world and much more interesting systems. You start the game quite powerless, but pick up new items and abilities quickly. You get both a ranged attack and a sword for melee. Given that you have wings, you can also fly. Well, float is a more accurate term until you get a wing upgrade later in the game. I found the float controls took me a bit to get used to, but once I did, it felt pretty good. There's also a grapple hook that will let you hook onto walls and is very fun to use for platforming. Your angel and demon forms play similarly, but have slightly different abilities. Your angel's ranged attacks travel much further, while the demon's ranged attack has a wider spread. You can destroy enemy projectiles that match your form's color by swinging your sword. You can only attack horizontally with your main weapons, but you do get spells that can attack upwards as well. Vials taken in angel form heal you, while in demon form they increase your speed. For combat, I mostly relied on my ranged attacks, which was simple but still satisfying. I got the feeling the devs meant for players to be swapping back and forth between forms and destroying enemy projectiles, but I preferred to just try to avoid them, or just take the damage. New spells and abilities are fun to play with. There's one ability that causes you to slash your sword at enemies if you grapple through them, and while I mostly ignored this at the start, I found it was incredibly useful and started using it whenever I could. The movement and combat are both solid, but where the game really shines is in exploration and progression. There are upgrades and collectibles to be found around every corner and so many ways to get stronger. Enemies drop orbs when they die, and these can be used to purchase upgrades from various shops throughout the game. At first you can only hold 100 orbs, but you'll be finding expansions to that frequently. Spells will allow you to cast stronger versions of your melee and ranged attacks, and you can also find items to upgrade these. You'll find hearts to increase your maximum health, extra magic charges for spellcasting, and more vials for healing your speed. Statues will allow you to purchase upgrades to armor and weapons. Eggs are the main collectible, with 100 of them to find, and returning them to their nests in town occasionally rewards you with orbs or upgrades. I really liked that the upgrades and abilities that let you explore more of the world weren't always what I was expecting, and most were useful for both combat and exploration. I also find the character progression screen immensely pleasing. It's great to be able to see exactly how much there is to collect and how much you've found. You'll need to traverse both the light realm and the dark realm in order to progress, each of which has a unique map. While the dual map is something I historically haven't been much of a fan of in games like Harmony of Dissonance or Axiom Verge 2, for some reason it really worked for me here. It was easy to read the map and see, when you went through a portal, exactly where you'd arrive in the other realm. It was nicely overlaid on the map screen, and you could also easily flip back and forth between the two. Going through an area in one realm would usually bring you out in a completely new area in the other, and it just made exploration really interesting. A fortune teller will mark objectives on the map to point you in the right directions, while not making it too obvious how to get there. The map also nicely marks areas of interest, letting you know where shops, statues, save points, and portals are. I just really wish that all the icons would stop flashing. It makes it hard to pinpoint where you are on the map, plus it's a real eyesore that makes it hard to look at it for too long. You can mark the map with different colored markers, but these are a bit difficult to see, and it's hard to distinguish between the very faded flashing colors. A couple bad aesthetic choices really hinder an otherwise useful map. Quite early on, you get access to fast travel between certain checkpoints, and before long, you can travel between any of them. Checkpoints also offer you healing and even the ability to add shields to block the next few sources of damage at the cost of orbs. While out exploring, you can also find candles which will allow you to purchase refills for a certain number of your vials. Increasing number of shields or refills available are another reward for thorough exploration. There are a few areas which could have used an extra checkpoint, which is a pretty common complaint for me to have. Some areas have you go through an excessive number of screens full of platforming challenges and a large number of enemies, and it's a pain to have to redo those. However, when you die and return to a checkpoint, you lose nothing. No orbs, no map progress, nothing you've picked up. I love that. I found the difficulty of the game fair. It starts more difficult, but it gets easier as you get more upgrades. There are a number of platforming areas, especially in the back half, that are rife with moving spikes, electricity, and flying monsters that you have to time to avoid. Though I also found I could brute force my way through a lot of these areas with enough health and vials. There are also a few puzzly areas where you need to figure out how to use your abilities to move platforms or remove obstacles. These provided a nice bit of variety. There's a wide assortment of enemies in the game, and they're all pretty cute. I love the goofy-looking dinos and piggies. A lot of enemies will use projectiles, which you can avoid or try to destroy with the correct form's melee attacks. My biggest nemesis were these pretty butterflies. What a bunch of assholes. They sure gave Castlevania bats a run for their annoying money. Bosses are fun and generally took me 1 to 5 attempts to vanquish, which is pretty ideal for me. If you're tired of games in the genre having incredibly punishing combat where you die in 2 to 3 hits, this is a nice change of pace. I didn't need to be perfect, I just needed to outlast my opponent. I particularly enjoyed the mechanics of grappling onto walls and floating or flying over enemies to find safe positions to unleash powered-up ranged attacks. Checkpoint rooms make themselves known via a visual effect, and while 90% of the bosses have them close by, there were 2 or 3 with annoyingly long runbacks. Aggelos 2 has attractive 16-bit pixel art and offers a lot of variety in its environments and enemies. The game is full of bright, vibrant colors and does a lot to distinguish different areas. From flying amongst blue skies and fluffy clouds, to traversing red lava-filled caves, hellishly purple underworlds, and underwater areas, they do what they can to keep things visually interesting. There are a handful of characters scattered throughout the world to talk to, and thankfully none of them talk too much. Some even have hints for you and point you toward a new upgrade. I do have a few usability complaints. The game is missing some basics, like the ability to remap buttons, and as I mentioned, the map flashing can be a visual problem. I also ran into a few bugs. Nothing serious, but I did wind up inside of the walls a couple times, and sometimes after killing a boss I'd have a certain sound effect caught on loop. The game also crashed after I got the bad ending. Twice. I completed Aggelos in 14 hours, getting the good ending and collecting almost everything. There was a bit of time where I wandered around aimlessly, not sure where to go next, but I found it eventually. There are 2 eggs and a last few upgrades I would like to go back for at some point. Despite the handful of complaints I have, I had a great time with Aggelos 2. I've been in a bit of a gaming funk lately, and this is the first new game in a while where I really just wanted to keep playing, exploring, and finding everything it has to offer. I loved flying and grappling around, swapping forms, and getting to explore the 2 overlapping maps, and I found character progression really rewarding. If you want a Metroidvania with retro aesthetics, but not necessarily retro difficulty, absolutely give this one a shot. If you want to see more, check out another of my Metroidvania reviews here. I have a Patreon, or you can become a channel member if you want to help support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.